The sea was calm that morning, peaceful, almost silent. The waves whispered secrets only heaven could hear. But deep beneath the surface, something ancient was waiting, something mighty. And far away, a man's heart was running from the very one who gave him life. This is the story of Jonah, the man who tried to run from God and discovered that no one can outrun race. Jonah was a prophet, chosen by God to speak truth to nations. He had seen God's power before. He had spoken words that turned hearts toward heaven. But this time, the call was different. God told him to go to Nineveh, a city filled with violence, pride, and sin. Jonah's heart trembled. He couldn't understand why God would want to forgive such people. He wanted judgment, not mercy. So instead of obeying, Jonah chose to run. Jonah packed a small bag and set out toward the sea. The road to Joppa was long and hot. Dust clung to his feet as he walked. Each step away from Nineveh felt like freedom. Yet deep inside, guilt began to whisper. At the port, he found a ship heading to Tarshish, the farthest place he could go, a place beyond the edge of his known world. He paid the fare quickly and stepped aboard, hoping that distance could silence his conscience. As the ship sailed away, Jonah breathed deeply. The horizon stretched wide before him, endless blue. But peace, built on disobedience, never lasts. The waves rocked gently. The sailors laughed and sang as the wind carried them farther from land. Jonah stood alone at the edge of the ship, watching the water move beneath him. The sea was calm, too calm. And in that quiet, Jonah could almost hear God's voice, a voice he was trying to forget. He looked away. He told himself he had done the right thing, but the sea...
Down in the black waters, Jonah sank. He felt the cold pull of the deep. Seaweed wrapped around his body. His lungs burned for air. And just when his strength gave out, a shadow moved beneath him. A giant fish, sent by God, opened its mouth and swallowed Jonah whole. Inside that living darkness, Jonah was still alive. He had escaped men, but not mercy. 3 days, 3 nights, Jonah lived inside the belly of the fish, a place between death and life. No light, no sound but the heartbeat of the creature that carried him. He lay in the darkness, weak, trembling, and broken. He thought about his choices, his pride, his fear, his running. He realized that even here, in this strange prison, God's presence was near. In the darkness, Jonah finally stopped running. He turned his heart back to God, not with words of fear, but with a heart of surrender. And when God saw that his heart had changed, he commanded the fish. The fish rose toward the surface. Sunlight pierced the water like spears of gold. Then, with one mighty breath, the fish opened its mouth and Jonah was thrown out onto the shore. He gasped for air, covered in seaweed and sand, trembling in the morning light. The sea behind him was calm again. Grace had done its work. Jonah lay still for a long time, the sound of the waves whispering forgiveness. When Jonah opened his eyes again, he felt something new, peace. God had given him a second chance. He stood up, still weak, but his heart was strong. He turned his face toward the road that led to Nineveh. This time, he would go. This time, he would obey. And so he walked, mile after mile, across the hot desert, through dust and wind, until he reached the great city. Nineveh was vast and loud, filled with people who did not know the truth. But Jonah had learned something in the dark. Mercy is for everyone. Jonah entered the city and proclaimed the message God gave him. He spoke of judgment, but also of forgiveness. The people listened. They turned from their evil ways. From the king to the poorest farmer, they humbled themselves and cried out to God. And God heard them. He forgave them all. Jonah watched as an entire city was saved, and for the first time he understood God's mercy is greater than man's anger. Grace is stronger than pride. Jonah learned that day that you cannot run from love. You cannot hide from purpose. Even when we run, God runs faster. Even when we fall, His mercy catches us. The storm wasn't punishment. It was a rescue. And the whale wasn't a prison. It was protection. Jonah's story is every one of us. When we run, when we hide, when we break. Yet still, grace finds us. So remember this. No matter how far you go, no matter how dark it becomes, you can never outrun the love of God, because His mercy swims deeper than the sea.